most fitness business owners, they look at winter and they accept that it's going to be slow. They're going to have more cancellations, more suspensions, and that new signups and leads are going to be hard to come by. And they almost give up. And that is the mindset of so many. It can be a year where you hit record numbers, where you prosper, where you sign up more clients than ever, or you can be like 90% of fitness business owners and just resign yourself to a slow, arduous period. Sales is the lifeblood of your business. We need to be constantly generating new leads and sales. Yet it should not be at the expense of look at winter as the greatest opportunity. It shouldn't come as a surprise. It happens every single year. And what I'm recommending is something different to what we've recommended in the past. This is an absolute must. You cannot negotiate on it. And that's our winter engagement challenge. Number 1, reach out to me, get that winter playbook. Number 2, set the date of your challenge. Number 3, welcome to Profit Made Simple. You may have realized, if you're a regular viewer or listener, that we've had a little hiatus for the last couple of weeks. The first pause in this show in 2 years of delivering it. And it's not because I've been lazy, but rather I've been in Boston for the Boston Marathon. And this was truly one of the most unforgettable, enjoyable experiences that I've ever had. And it reflects one of the most important principles that I live my life by. And that is, a great life is just made up of great experiences. And I'd rather a lot of amazing experiences than just things. Watches, cars, they don't light me up. What does light me up is doing something truly special with amazing people. And that's what the Boston Marathon was. If you are a runner, and you get an opportunity, then this is on the bucket list. Just the energy, the vibrancy, the positivity, the running community and culture was next level. But now we're back, and this show is going to be delivered in mid-May. You know what's fast approaching? Winter. I was just remarking before the show started how cold the mornings are becoming. And winter is such a critical period for fitness business owners. Most fitness business owners, they look at winter and they accept that it's going to be slow, that it's going to be tough, that they're going to have more cancellations, more suspensions. They're going to have classes with low capacity and utilization, and that new signups and leads are going to be hard to come by. And they almost give up during this winter period. I've been doing this. I've owned gyms for 2 decades. I've been in the coaching space for a decade. And that is the mindset of so many. I've just got to ride this winter out. Winter is slow. This is it. This is the seasonality. These are the peaks and troughs that we go through. And they resign themselves to it. Yet you're different. You're different because you're listening to this and you're watching this. Because the next 12 weeks can truly set up your year. It can be a year where you hit record numbers, where you prosper, where you sign up more clients than ever. Or you can be like 90% of fitness business owners and just resign yourself to a slow, arduous period. I know which camp you're in. And so this episode, my promise to you is that I'm going to give you the blueprint, the game plan on how to win winter. Now, if you're watching this, listening to this, we've got an amazing workbook that we've actually put together that runs alongside this episode. And if you'd like that, if you're listening, reach out to me on social media at Coach Dan Henderson. There's no underscore. That is a fake account. Or comment on YouTube and we will get that across to you, because it's just going to give this episode a lot more practical value And it's going to enable you to really craft that plan and implement it quickly and effectively. Winter is a great opportunity for you to separate yourselves from your competition. They are going to be chasing their tails. You are going to feel aligned, positive, proactive, and then you're going to launch into spring in a completely different state. So I'm going to cover 4 main areas today. Number 1, your winter challenge. I'm going to break down exactly what you need to be doing. Number 2, we're going to be going through some winter acquisition offers. Number 3, we're going to be talking about onboarding and retention. And number 4, we're going to be talking about the importance of your team in delivering this strategy itself. So let's start on mindset. If you've been a regular listener or viewer of this podcast, you will know that I hammer home and preach the importance of retention. Now, a lot of the other gurus out there in coaching programs only talk about acquisition. Why? Because it's sexy. But when you actually look at the data, retention is far more impactful than acquisition as a growth strategy. Now, I'm not diminishing the importance of acquisition. Sales is the lifeblood of your business. We need to be constantly generating new leads and sales. That's why so many of these podcasts are focused on marketing and sales. Yet it should not be at the expense of retention. Now, I've often presented the stat that it is 9 times more cost effective to retain a current client than it is to attract a new one. Yet in preparing for this episode, I went through all the current data. And what it showed is that it can actually be up to 25 times more cost effective. So when we look at how we're investing our time, money, and energy, because we have finite resources, right? Finite outputs that we can put out to generate results. Are we actually putting that much time, energy, and effort into retention? Because this becomes only more profound and important during winter. And in particular, there's a couple of key leading indicators that will show when someone's likely to cancel. Number 1, they're not utilizing your product as much. Number 2, it's now become overwhelming or inconvenient for them to train in your community. And so we need to address these proactively. So I'm going to be talking about that, but the mindset that I want you to have going into winter is more of a retention mindset. We are still going to add new clients, but we're going to put more time and energy into engagement. The other real key driver of profitability in a business is serving your current clientele better and getting them to spend more. Another key statistic that I share is it's 7 times easier to sell to a current client than it is to a new client. Yet we're constantly chasing the new clients and leaving money on the table when it comes to our current clients. Yet our current clients already love us. They already trust us. And they will spend more money if it will result in better resources, accountability, and results. And so when we approach winter, it's going to be very heavily retention-centric and also looking at our current clientele and how we can serve them better. That's how we're going to drive the profitability of the business itself. So how do we do so? The first strategy that I want to share with you is probably nothing you haven't heard before, but it may be just a different way of delivering it. And that's our winter engagement challenge. This is an absolute must. You cannot negotiate on it. Now, maybe you don't like the word challenge, and that's okay. It could be a focus. It could be a reboot. It could be anything else. I don't care. But what you do need is you need a structured 8-week program during winter. Look, if you want to make it 6 or 10, you can do so. But what I recommend is an 8-week program that kicks off at the start of July. Now, you may need to have a look at your school holidays and how that plays into it. And what I'm recommending is something different to what we've recommended in the past. And that is with the winter challenge, there's going to be 2 entry options for it. So you're going to have a free, complimentary, or very low ticket entry, because what we want is we want more of your clients participating it than not. So if you've got 100 clients, the aim is to get at least 50 of those participating in the challenge itself. And so we just make it easy. Now, you can either make it free, or sometimes I like to add a little incentive where they just give a small amount of money, i.e. $50, and they can get that back if they meet a minimum of 3 sessions a week for the 8 weeks. Otherwise, it's delivered to charity. It's not a revenue raiser. I'm just trying to drive behavior with the low ticket option. Now, one of the most effective methods that my clients have used, and I'll give you a couple of examples with this, has been physical leaderboards. So Josh Seringa at Body Blitzer, Michelle Bruff at Studio X, what they did particularly well during December, so the same methodology applies, the same principle, is they got huge, big leaderboards and they tracked weekly attendance. Then they also tracked overall attendance for the 8-week period. And there's just something about seeing your name on a physical leaderboard relative to other people. And it might be that type A personality, that competitive drive that we all have, but we want to get ourselves up that leaderboard. And what you do is you reward them. You have weekly prizes for the person that attends the most during the week, and maybe it's the top 3 people, and it can just be something small, guys. Doesn't need to be something lavish or big. It might be just a coffee voucher at your local cafe. It's a $10 coffee voucher. And you give the 3 highest attendees a coffee voucher at the end of every week. Then at the end of the 8 weeks, you're giving more of a grand prize, something a little more significant. So yes, you may invest a little bit of money into this, although you could probably negotiate something with your local cafe like most of our clients do. So it's a great way to collaborate and do a joint venture. Say it's $30 a week at max, there's $240, but you're driving attendance and engagement, and it's going to be higher than it's ever been. So that's our low ticket option. Then we have more of a higher ticket option. Now, what we want this is an extra $25 to $35 a week from our current clientele. I'll talk about new clients in a moment as well. And so there you're looking at least an extra $240, right, per client over this period, which is really valuable. Here you are going to load it up with more than just the engagement challenge. You're going to have seminars, you're going to have workshops, you might have some excursions, you might have some guest presenters or instructors come in, you might have scans, you might have nutrition booklets and additional resources. All right, I'm not going to dive into all the features of a challenge, but generally when we look at it, we want something educational, we want something celebration, and we want some additional resources. And sometimes a prize as well can be really helpful. If we work on those principles, then we can create a really amazing challenge that you're passionate about, your team's passionate about, they're energized and they're going to deliver it as well. There may be a benchmark component as well. There should be some kind of measurables. And so now we have 2 challenges running alongside each other. They're congruent. The paid challenge has the engagement side, but the engagement doesn't have all the bells and whistles. So now I've got a majority of my clientele base super engaged. I've now got a portion of my clientele base invested and paying me more to really drive their results during this critical period. And then I'm going to make that same challenge available to new clientele. So I'm going to charge, if I've got a team training gym, I'm going to charge anywhere between $400 to $600 for that challenge. So they're going to get access to all of our classes plus everything that I've just mentioned. If you're a semi-private or personal training facility, you guys do the maths, you guys work it out. It's obviously going to be more than that. And so now I have new clientele coming in, but they're not just coming in to our regular membership. They're coming in to a heightened product and service delivery. And that is going to enable us to hold on to them for a longer period of time because their initial experience has been so damn good. So what I recommend you do is this. Choose your dates. When are you going to launch it? How long is it going to be? What's it going to be called? What's going to be included in it? And then start putting out some teaser information to both your database, email, text, socials for external clients and for your current clients. Start announcing it in classes, start putting signage up around, and start getting them excited about the challenge itself. So that is our first winter play. And remember, we've got a workbook where we break all of this down and we do all of that. So if you want that, make sure you reach out to me. So that's our first winter engagement play. The second winter engagement play that I want to talk about is the actual onboarding itself. So it's not a play, but I really want you to dial in your onboarding and take it to another level. If you really assessed it and you said, you know what, I think it's about a 6 out of 10, I want you to take it to a 9 out of 10 during winter. Because again, I'm very objective data driven and the stats just paint this, just the most compelling picture of all is that 83% of clients will stay for an extended period of time, i.e. multiple years, based on their first 90 days with you. So in winter, I want you to have more touch points to help them succeed and thrive within your business. So what does this look like? I want you to have non-sweat coaching sessions. All right. It can be a phone call. It can be face-to-face. It doesn't have to be long, but you're going to spend about 15 minutes with your new client, just assessing how they're going. Are they booking in their classes? How are they feeling? Talking about some keystone habits around nutrition and sleep, and just making sure that they understand that they are supported. So that's the first thing. If you're not doing it in your onboarding, you want to add it, you want to layer it in there. The second part is you want to help them build connections. Because what research shows is if I've got 3 deep connections within a tribe, not just fitness businesses, but this is tribe statistics. If I've got 3 deep connections away from the actual leader, then I am far less likely to ever leave that tribe. So you need to facilitate those. You need to buddy them up. Every class, you're budding them up. All right. You need to book them into a social event, and then you need to buddy them up. So all of a sudden, their social circle is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's not dependent on your team or you having to do all the heavy lifting. So that's the second thing that you need to do within your onboarding experience. The third thing that I want you to do is I want you to have some rituals and celebrate their milestones. So it might be when they do their first 10 classes. It might be their first 30 days. But you're going to make a big deal about this. You're going to give them a little gift or a reward. You're going to recognize it, and you're going to celebrate those first steps with them. And then the fourth thing that I want you to do is I want you to create these micro moments of joy. And this doesn't just extend to the new clients. This can be everybody as well. But I really want you to use surprise in this. It might be free coffee on Saturdays. It might be just a handwritten note just saying how much you appreciate them. It might be warm towels. It might be some hot soup. It might be like a little gift. One of my clients gave all of his clients beanies. He's an outdoor business in the month of July. And what that did is it created some great reciprocity and some goodwill, and it helped him retain those members over that critical period. So that's the second thing we're going to do. We're going to improve our onboarding process. We're going to have more touch points, give them more love because it's more critical during this winter period. So the third thing that we're going to do in winter is that we have to attract new clientele. And I want you to create 3 distinct offers during winter. I don't want you to heavily discount. That's the first thing I want you not to do, because what that does is that diminishes and dilutes your brand and your offering. That's what clients are going to, or clients and customers are going to remember. Remember, discounting is a slippery slope all the way to the bottom. We are not going to commoditize our product or service. Instead, I'm going to create an incredible bundle offer. I'm doing all these amazing things in winter. I've got this winter challenge. I might be creating, special excursions. Maybe I've got beanies and hoodies. I'm going above and beyond. And so I'm going to include all of that in an amazing value stack. I'm not discounting, but I'm layering it in. So they may end up with $200, $300, $400, $500 more value when they join in winter. I'm going to put that together. And obviously, you're just going to market it through the usual channels: social media, emails, text messages, community groups, meta ads, all of those things. We want to dial them in. So that's the first offer I want you to put together, is an amazing bundle offer. The second offer is the commit offer. And this is where you're going to go out to your current clientele and give them an incentive to pay 12 months up front. Because we are going to be investing a bit of money back in to our community itself, and a couple of upfront memberships will help us do so. You got to look at this from an investment perspective. The money that I'm putting in, remember, it's up to 25 times more cost effective. So it's going to pay significant dividends down the line. And generally how I like to do my upfront offers is there's a small discount, 10% for paying 12 months upfront. But again, I'm going to value stack their experience. Maybe they get free challenges for the whole year. All right. They're going to get exclusive bits of apparel. And I prefer, rather than a broadcast offer with our commit offer, you actually hand select your most loyal, amazing clients. And you go, I've got something exclusive to you. I'm not announcing it to anybody else, but we've got this incredible commit offer. This is what it includes. Is that something that you'd like to take advantage of? Then the last offer I want you to create is more like an express winter offer. It's not discounting, but it's a rapid results or a winter express offer where they get access to your amazing business for a shorter period of time for a nominal amount. So it might be 14 days for $59. It might be 21 days for $89. It might be 28 days for $99. And this is going to just get people that are on the fence in your database, are lurking, are looking at what you're doing, and it's going to give them a really easy, no-risk opportunity to trial and experience your business. So they're the 3 offers we're going to create, and then we're going to communicate those through all of our different marketing mediums. Now, the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to winning winter is your team. You know, this podcast is a lot about leadership, and your team are the most important people within your business. Now, that's a little controversial. You may say, no, it's the clients. But my belief is if you look after your team incredibly well, then they in turn will look after your clients. But if we're not looking after the team, then the clients aren't getting the very best experience and service. So what does looking after our team look like during this period? Look, it's going to be some dark, cold mornings. There's going to be some long days. There's going to be some flus and sickness. And so it can challenge them mentally and emotionally. So how do I want to look after them? I'm going to get them some really amazing apparel. All right. I'm going to spend some money on some new uniforms, new jackets, maybe some new beanies, maybe some gloves, and it's going to be exclusive to them. So I'm going to acknowledge, hey, it's cold, but this is how I'm looking after you. It looks professional. They feel great. They wear it with pride. Maybe a couple of times a week, maybe a couple of times a month, I'm going to go in, even if I'm not taking sessions, as the leader, and I'm going to give them coffee. I'm going to come in there and I'm going to bring them coffee. maybe a little snack. I'm also going to organize a team outing. I want to take them out maybe for dinner, drinks, lunch, and I want to celebrate and acknowledge them. And I also want to make sure that I'm supporting them with the workload because we are going to be doing a lot more. We've got heightened onboarding. We've got winter challenges. So I want to make sure that I'm not burning them out and that I'm getting my hands dirty as well. This is an often overlooked component when it comes to navigating winter. But I guarantee if you look after your team with care, with love, with respect, and just put into play just maybe one or two of the things that I shared, they're going to appreciate that and they are going to do amazing work for you and, more importantly, your clients. So there we have our Win Winter Playbook. I hope I've really challenged you to look at winter as the greatest opportunity. It shouldn't come as a surprise. It happens every single year, and now you can make the most of it. I'm going to challenge you with a couple of practical items in closing. Number one, reach out to me, get that winter playbook. It's going to help you implement this with ease. Number two, set the date of your challenge. Number three, communicate that to your team. If you do these three things just to start with, you're already on the path to having a thriving and successful winter. I hope you got a lot of value from today's episode. And if you did so, I would really appreciate if you could like, subscribe, and share so more people get value just like you have. Thanks so much for watching and listening.